The Garnet and Old members only show. Vince, we do this for our beloved YouTube members who pay us to give them our thoughts, our opinions, and our fun conversations. Vince, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. And we also do it, anxiously, excitedly. We're ready when the time comes.
when the firings come.
And sometimes we forget. But yeah, no inside info, no context, no problem. Members only show. I had a decent idea today while I was working, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And so I started thinking about Ryan, and I texted you about this.
You started thinking about Ryan.
Mm-hmm. That is, these coaching contracts that, big time schools have are a bit of an albatross, as it were. And there has to be a better way that is not, where the coach has all the leverage. There just has to be a better way. In very few realms of the world, does one party have all the leverage? So I started thinking about that today, and I think I came up with a decent idea that I don't think would ever fly because the hay's already, in the barn. Horses have left the stable. There's no way we're going to go backward. But if someone were to try this, I think it would work. I call it program first contracts or program forward contracts, either one. So
what do we got? Break it down. I got to hear it.
All right. So let's put it up on the screen. Everybody's seeing that, I hope, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I see it.
It's live. Okay. So I started doing some math in my head, which is always a scary thing. And the idea, and I'll kind of walk through this, is a lot of words here, but to kind of narrow it down, let's not think about a head coach's salary being tied to a person. Let's talk about the head coach salary pool for whoever would be the head coach at a major program like Florida State. And so right now that lump sum is $10 million. Okay. So we have $10 million here. So right now it doesn't matter, how the team does. Mike Norvell's getting $10 million. Mm-hmm. And I find that to be, not advantageous. It's only advantageous to the coach or the school if the coach is really rocking it. Okay. So I started thinking, well, most places in the world, Ryan, you get paid based on what you do, based on your merit. So think of like a salesman gets a base salary and a commission, right?
And and for setting up meetings.
Right. Yeah. Yes. And then also, a server gets a base salary, and then they get, depending on how great a server they are, they get tips. So that's kind of the idea here. So let's just say we got the $10 million pool that Florida State has to play with. But the base pay is based on making a bowl game. Okay. And so whether, just think about this year, we're not going to make a bowl game, but Mike Norvell would make the base expectation salary, which is basically, 13 games, which would be, the full season plus a bowl game, divided by, or the 10 million divided by the 13 games, right? That gives me a number of dollars per game, right? Multiply that times the 6 wins, which is the base expectation. And so in this scenario, Mike Norvell would make $4,615,000, or $615,380 this year.
What does he make for one win?
You're right. He would make that same amount whether he won 0 games or 6 games. Okay.
Minimum wage.
Minimum wage. All right. So that's all well and good. And then we say, okay, for every win, 7, 8, and 9, we're going to take the remainder of what's left from that 10 million and divide it by 4, because you've got wins 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. And we're going to add that amount per win after that. So if he wins 7 games, it's, that 4 million plus the 1.3, right? If he wins 8, 4 million plus 1.3 plus 1.3, and on and on. So if he wins 10 games, he'll get the full payout, because we can't assume that, you're going to go 12-0 every year. All right. So the base salary you're going to make is 4.6. If you win 10 games, you're going to make 10 million. And then the contract buyout, let's just say, somebody's really, not doing well for multiple years. You're going to take the average wins for the previous 2 seasons. You're going to multiply that times the per game dollars of the base expectation, and you're going to times that by the remaining years. So let's just say that Florida State wanted to part ways with Mike Norvell this year. There would be a 7-game average between last year and this year, and multiplied out, he's got 6 years left on his contract. He would get paid $32 million rather than 64.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're thinking, well, that's not great. So what is it about this that makes it program first? That is the bullets. So let's take bullet 1. Same concepts and formulas across all the staff. So you're going to do this for your defensive or your coordinators, your staff, and all this stuff. You get a significant base, and then you get to eat what you capture or eat what you kill from that point on. But because this is a pool of money for the program, whatever is not accomplished gets put back into the program for other things for future success. So let's just say he's only going to make $4 million this year, which he is in this scenario. That other $5.4 million goes back into NIL, staffing changes, talent acquisition in general. So you could say, like, okay, yeah, you've sucked this year, and because of that, you're only going to get paid this much. But we're going to take the remainder of that and help you and put it in the things that move the program forward. Forget about you as an individual. Move the program forward. And so this idea is more about balancing out money versus money for people, which is a temporary thing, as we all know, and money for the program, which is ongoing. Tell me your thoughts.
I think it's highly interesting, but what are the odds do you think anyone would say yes to this?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's already a precedent that coaches are going to get paid whether they're good or bad. Right. But if a major school would ever say, hey, you're going to, $4.6 million is a lot of money, Ryan.
Yeah.
And coaches' salaries are out of control to begin with. But if there was ever, if it was ever a school that would be willing to take a chance on something like this, you could sell it as, hey, you could make it all. And if you make it all, then the chances, and then we don't really need as much money going back into the coffers because things are rolling.
Yeah.
Like, you know what you're doing. But in the event you have a slip up, then we're going to take whatever's left over. We're not just going to like not do anything with it.
Yeah.
We're going to put that big in that money back into helping you get this thing back on track. So they're still getting the benefit of the dollars. It's just not going to their individual bank account.
I'm gonna put my Jimmy Sexton hat on and say right there.
Oh, for sure. But and
No,
that's
that was me just joking around. And now I don't even know how to remove that, Vince.
Just hide it with the.
I'm just joking.
Oh God!
Oh no! There we go.
There you go.
I was just gonna add a bunch of Mark Cubans.
Of course,
So,
hey, of course, no one's.
I want to add a layer to this.
Yeah,
like I just did to the scene here. Just like in the NFL, trade deadlines for coaches. Let me stay with me here. Where do top tier coaches that are underperforming generally end up once they are let go?
Broadcasting.
No, either let's say Jimbo Fisher, they end up as an analyst at another big school, or or they end up as a head coach at a smaller school, right?
Sure.
Hear me out here. Where do generally big tier programs go to get their next head coach that they believe is the next coach, their next the next potential Nick Saban?
Well, they go to the lower tiers.
So here's the thing. What if I'm going to take not even the Mike Norvell. Let's say Jimbo Fisher, go back in time. He's our head coach again. He's not happy. We're not happy with him. He's disgruntled. He's starting to let go of the program, right? What if, and there's a second layer to this. You say, okay, we want Jimbo gone. We don't want to pay the buyout. He knows he's going to get fired. He doesn't want to get fired. Let's see if there's any schools interested in Jimbo Fisher. But just like a NFL trade, Jimbo Fisher doesn't want to necessarily just go anywhere because, there's a lot of money at stake and everything. But what if he could take his star running back with him? So, South Carolina, who I consider a lower tier program for, says, we'll take Jimbo Fisher, but you have to throw in Dalvin Cook, and we'll give you our coach that just won 11 games. What do you think about that? A little trade deadline, a little add the coach and a player, or it's some kind of trade transfer portal pick, like you get an extra roster spot or something like that. That'd be fun.
Well, I mean, that means what you're saying is that the programs would have to own the rights to the coach and all the players.
Yes.
And so that's the only way that could work.
I mean, this is a funsies discussion. So,
yeah.
Mike Norvell, he loved Memphis. We like their coach. Mike Norvell, you go back to Memphis, we get their coach, but Mike Norvell gets to bring. I was going to say who's the dominant player who would bring with him, though. That's a problem. We don't have it. Hakeem Williams would probably do pretty well at Memphis. I'm just saying, maybe a few players, but something interesting. But going back to the salary equation, what I would like to put in here, though, I would assume this is assumed. Anything above 10 wins, ACC titles, bowl games,
bonuses are separate than this because bonuses are separate in general. You either earn them or you don't.
What if they had I've access to a swag store? You get points on top of this, that you can spend at your local Garnet and Old.
You get 3 miles. Yeah. I mean,
discounts to local eateries.
I thought about, all that stuff that's like access to the private jet and the vehicle, the vehicle allowance, all that is stuff that's outside of the salary.
Yeah.
Right. So that would happen regardless because if if the coach ended up being let go, you know, you're not owing him, you know, a vehicle allowance after he's gone, right? So that's either you earn it or you don't. This is strictly about, you know, the base salary that's, you know, you could be the worst coach that's ever walked the face of the earth and you're still going to make $10 million. And my friend, that ain't the real, I mean, unfortunately it is the real world, but that ain't the real world, and it isn't right. It isn't right for the programs.
This is us right now, Vince. This is why we're having this conversation today. Okay.
Yeah. Which, by the way, our 7 o'clock show, like the normal show, is like I was trying to look for some highlights and I had nothing, which is the reason why the thumbnail is what it is.
I do like that you can drag it. Do you know you can drag and drop? You don't have to use the add button.
Oh yeah, you can just drag it on there and then remove it.
You mean you don't have to upload it as a PDF slide? Or so Vince. All right.
Okay, so
Let's say
Ryan,
they implement this.
so hold on. Other than the fact that it would never happen because
Agreed.
the chances of it going backwards are not going to happen. Shoot holes in this. Other than that,
I would say strength of schedule. This might incentivize the coach to maybe try to get some FCS teams scheduled. Maybe you make some additions where it's five games against the minimum is 5 games against FBS teams, and FCS teams are not included in the win total.
sure. Or you could say, you know, one non-FBS.
I mean, this year it might
be included.
I think we're going to have a war in a few weeks, but
we are. I think we are too. But you
Georgia
could have
Southern would dominate, Vince.
I posted that on Twitter the other day. It's like Georgia Southern would gata all over this Knoll team.
Mm-hmm. But no, the only other hole I can poke in it is when we're coming to contract buyout. Is there still, if you go somewhere else, his contract counts against that?
Of course, yeah. I think that would be part of it. You know, if he gets another job, that would be take away from what was owed. Yes.
Does he have to give back the Christmas tree?
I should have had a bullet in there for Christmas tree must remain.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I would sign up for this deal, especially if I was
You and I
coach.
would. You and I would for sure. And it puts a little skin in the game, puts more skin in the game for coaches that maybe are not motivated. But again, the main point of this for me, going through this in my brain, is that the money is a pool for the program, mm-hmm. and not for the head coach as an individual.
Yeah, I agree. I like it.
All right. Simple enough.
And you got this. Hey, if you're interested, Vince is willing to pay this to our YouTube members for how many shows they watch. The same math.
How many out of a 13-game season, we're going to divide it up. You have a base expectation to watch at least 6.
Yeah. You will be paid in Shroot bucks.
Shroot dollars.
1/100th of a cent.
Oh boy. This is what we've come to, Ryan, where I am, you know, in my brain calculating the contracts of coaches, and because we have nothing else really to think about
on Notre Dame week. Well, Vince, we got to head over and do the Garnet and Old show, but
we do.
Thank you guys if you're watching this video, thanks for being a YouTube member. It's an exclusive perk of being a YouTube member. And why don't you guys, after you're done with this, hit me and Vince up on X. Connect with us. If you let us know that you're a YouTube member, we'll follow you back and we'll DM you guys. So thanks for being a YouTube member always.
Right. And we can work on how to solve.
I don't know what happened, Vince.
No, we're good.
Oh, I have a new headline for you.
We're still broadcasting.
No, here's the thing.
Hey, everybody.
What I just realized, Vince, is that when you're not in studio mode and you click one of the things on the left, it just starts it
Yes, it does. That becomes live right away.
instead of queuing it up. And that's what was happening because I was supposed to just have the left sidebar where it puts the next slide up. But, anyways, that's boring stuff. Thanks, guys, for subscribing. Let's queue it up again. Go Noles.
Go Noles.